Hey everyone, welcome to Grunsta International Airport episode 12. In today's episode, we are basically resurfacing and upgrading our runways, but not redoing them completely. There's just some stuff that we needed to do. Right off the bat, you can see here that I already removed all of the ploppable asphalt, and I just replaced it with runway extensions. Most and crucial assets will be, again, linked in the description. So you can, do this if you want, or just check out what you need. In this next bit, you can see here I'm removing all the decals, and I had just a ton. So that was a really big performance boost and really helped a lot, and I just replaced them with a few because I found that they just weren't necessary. One of the big things here is lighting. So the main part of doing resurfacing, that was important, but it wasn't the most important. The other thing is doing the actual lighting. And here I'm doing the threshold lights, which is a row of green lights. I don't remember the exact spacing. I'll leave a link to an ICAO document. It's the ICAO Annex 14, Volume 1. And if you scroll through, you can find, some pictures of it, as well as I'll leave a link to Vasimir's and Captain James. They made like a ALS prop pack, and they have all the pictures of the different configurations there. I'm using the ALS F2 configuration, so for those that are more technically interested, you can go look at what that is. It's apparently very commonly used, and I like how it looks as well, so I just decided to go with that. This episode, we got two questions on Discord. First question is by V. Jeeves. What was the first city you remember in CS, and how is that compared to now? First city, I remember it very clearly. I don't have it saved anywhere because I never bothered to, apparently, and because I had reinstalled the game, I think, at some point. It was really bad. I remember I was watching, I don't know, either Strict Toaster, or I think it was somebody else, but I got the game a few months after it was released. So I've been playing the game for a while now, and I kept trying to make it look good, and I was doing exactly what the other YouTubers were doing. So I think I was watching Corrales. That was one of the main things that introduced me. And I was watching how he was doing his things, and I was trying to make my city look exactly like that, and I never could. And so I just ended up doing things on my own, and it was nothing compared to now. It was really funny, actually. So what I'm doing here is doing the touchdown zone lights. These are 2 rows of 3 steady burning white lights that are found on runways and indicate the touchdown zone, as per the name. And basically, they go for the length of these big bar markings that you see on the sides. I don't remember exactly the spacing and everything. Again, I'll link all these in the description, and I believe these come with the ALS prop pack because it is part of the ALS. So here I'm working on, I believe, 27 right. I basically, it's the same for every runway because the size of the actual ALS doesn't change. The runways do, but yeah, I just copied this entire thing later, and I just put it on every end of every runway. Here what I'm doing, this basically, the touchdown zone lights, if as you go towards the end of the runway, there's like 9, there's 2 rows of 9, 2 rows, 9, I don't know how to explain it. It transitions to red lights, and then I was just doing that, copying that. And then, as you go past the actual runway and the displaced threshold, you actually have to switch to not pavement lights, but physical lights that have supports, like the ones that you see here. And so those are going to extend onto our EMAS pad. And just go for a bit. It's a little bit complicated. You really do have to have a reference if you're looking at doing something like this, but you should be able to get the hang of it. I considered even making like prefabs that I could post to the workshop. I don't know if I'll do that. If you haven't noticed, I have a tough time with managing time. It's mostly repetitive. There are a few changes, as you go on making the ALS, depending on what configuration you choose. But yeah, for the most part, you're just copying and pasting and then moving them along. You will need to move it, absolutely. It's the most useful mod, I think, out there. And then you can see here the full extent of this. You have the sequencers at the end that I didn't even bother showing just because of how long it took. There you can see on the right I have a picture of how the ALSF2 looks. You know, it's a nice little reference. That's what I used, and that's actually from the Steam Workshop page of the ALS prop pack. So our last question is by, I believe it's Shranal, and he is asking, or they are asking, are you planning on building a new city in the future? And you know what, I'm not sure. Probably, I guess, but I still have a lot of plans with Grunstadt, and you know, I want to finish it to the full extent. I'm, you know, as my PC gradually slows down, I am upgrading it. My biggest limiting factor is the VRAM that I have on my GPU, so I'm going to be needing to upgrade that eventually. But I mean, overall, I'm not, you know, looking at changing things up, or I guess changing the city for a while. I don't know. The city works for me. I get errors from time to time that I have to fix, but I'm maintaining it for as long as I can, I guess, until we're completely done and we've covered the entire map with, you know, something. Because, yeah, I still have a lot of plans. I have episodes in mind. Next episode is actually going to be Railway Overhaul. So that's going to be pretty interesting, and there's still, like I said, a lot to do. This build here is actually a little bit interesting. Basically, I used the railway elevated barriers from the railway mod, which I'll be actually using next episode, to create like a walkway for the ALS that goes past the water, I guess the edge of the island. And it actually looks really nice in the end. I'm really happy with it. And then I used some pillars, I think also by Ronix, for the rest of it with procedural objects, just so I could move them up and down nicely, and because I don't want to use buildings as little as possible, and it looks pretty nice, I think. Sorry for the shorter episode. I realize, you know, people have been waiting for a while, but it's so repetitive. There's not much new stuff to show, so it's going to be a shorter episode. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you thought of this, any suggestions in the comments. I read all of them. Discord is linked in the description, as well as the new City Skylines channel by, you know, the actual City Skylines team. So I'll link that there because, you know, if you like the game, you might want to check that out. That's pretty nice. Yeah, thank you so much. Subscribe if you have not already. Make sure to subscribe to PewDiePie as well. And yeah, I'll see you next time.